Alright, this is lesson 25 for 7th grade, and today we're going to talk about dividing fractions. Okay? Basically what we're going to do, let's look at our main goals for today. And it says goal, we actually have two goals, but the main thing we want to figure out is what are our rules for dividing fractions. We have a specific rule that we're going to follow every time. And then what we're going to do is we're going to follow that rule, and then we're going to use our prior knowledge. We already know how to multiply fractions, and that's essentially what we're going to be doing after we apply the rule for dividing. So that's going to make sense in a second. Right now it probably doesn't sound like, okay, we're going to be multiplying, but we're talking about dividing. Yeah, well, we'll make sense out of that in a second here. And there's one good question that we always start with, or at least most people start with, when we talk about fractions and division. And that question is right here. It says, how many quarters are in a dollar? Well, we know that there are 4 quarters in a dollar. But when we think about it on a more fraction-based type question, it gets a little more interesting. There are 4 quarters in a dollar, yes. Another way to ask this question is how many 1/4 are in 1? Because we know that 1 quarter is 1/4 of a dollar. So how many 1/4 are in 1? Well, there are 4 1/4 in 1. But the way to write this mathematically is 1 divided by 1/4. Well, that looks kind of weird. So how does 1 divided by 1/4 give us 4? Well, if we look at it with quarters, or as they like to call fraction manipulatives, basically you have 1/4 of your circle here, and there are going to be 4 of these guys that make up the whole circle. But to do this mathematically, what we're going to do is we're actually going to take the reciprocal of what we're dividing here, okay? So we see the answer is 4, and it says recall that 4, or 4 over 1, is the reciprocal of 1/4. Remember, the reciprocal means we just take the numerator and the denominator and we flip them around. So the reciprocal of 1/4 is 4 over 1, or just 4. So, how many quarters are in a dollar? Well, to actually solve this mathematically, we know there's 4. We're going to turn this into a multiplication problem. So we're going to do 1 times the reciprocal of this. And we can turn 1 into 1 over 1. Alright? Then you just multiply straight across. Or you can cancel before. This one we're not going to have to do that. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. 4 over 1 is just 4. That's our rule. That's how we can do that mathematically when we want to divide with fractions. Apply our rule, which would be taking the reciprocal of the second number and then turning it into multiplication. So let's take a look at some examples here. For instance, we look at this. Wow, that's pretty big. This one says, how many 2/3 are in 1? Or, what is 1 divided by 2/3? So, you can always think of that like what I said before, how many, well, I'm not sure if I brought it up or not, but if you think about this as, put in numbers that you know. How many 2's are in 4? Oh, okay, there are 2 2's in 4. So 4 divided by 2. So that's why this means 1 divided by 2/3. So we know that 1 divided by 2/3 is actually going to be 1 over 1. Just changing this to 1 over 1. We're going to turn this to multiplication, but we have to reciprocal first. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 2 is 2. So 3 over 2, or 1 1/2 for A. So this would be A. B. How many 2/3 are in 3? So that would be 3 divided by 2 over 3, which equals 3 over 1. Just turning that into 3 over 1 times reciprocal over 2. So 3 times 3, 9. 1 times 2 is 2. And this is 9 halves, 4, 4 and a half. That would be our solution for both of these. Alright. Okay. Now let's just look at a straight up example of just a problem like this. 2/3 divided by 3/4. Okay? Now we're dividing, so we have to follow our rule and reciprocal the second fraction. So we're going to go 2/3 times 4/3. Alright? And we cannot cancel anything out because 2 doesn't go into 3 evenly. 3 and 4 don't share a common factor either. So 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 3 is 9. 8/9 for that one when we divide. That looks good. And I think I have one more example for us. And I believe it is a word problem. Alright. And it's about me. It says Mr. G walks 9/10 of a mile on his way to the bank. On his way, he passes a subway, which is 3/4 of a mile from where he started. What fraction of his walk has he completed when he reaches the subway? Okay, so my total travel distance is 9/10 of a mile. That's my total. And when I get to the subway, that's 3/4 of a mile from where I started. So what fraction of that is of my total? So let's think about this. Let's say Mr. G walks 1 mile on my way to the bank. And 3/4 of a mile from where I started would just be 3/4, right? So it's almost 3/4 of a mile, but not quite, because this is not 1 mile yet. But we're going to say 3/4 divided by 9/10. So basically, what fraction of this is our total? So total travel distance, 9/10. Alright? So let's follow our rule here. 3/4 times 10/9. Looks like we should get 3, well, we could do some canceling beforehand. 3 and 9. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 4 and 10. We can divide by 2. 2 and 5. So this would be 5. 1 times 5 is 5. 2 times 3 is 6. So 3/4 of the way is 5/6 of the total, or how much I've completed by the time I reach the subway. So I've completed 5/6 of my walk. Alright, we'll go over some examples in class here, and we will continue tomorrow. Thank you.